Viewers, millions sacrificed their lives to free our great nation from the clutches of the British, the marauding British, the exploitative British, the racist British, the dictatorial British. Great sons of the soil like Mahatma Gandhi, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Veer Savarkar and Sardar Patel worked very hard to build the idea of a cohesive nation in the face of the infamous British ploy of divide and rule. But while the British have left, it appears that some of their camp followers haven't given up in realizing their vision. In a bid to score a few political points against the Modi government, perhaps even the personage of Narendra Modi, who hails from Gujarat, Ramachandra Guha, who, as he claims to high scholarship and describes himself as a Gandhian, quoted a colonial-era British writer called Philip Spratt, who once argued for giving Azadi to Kashmir to drive a wedge between the people of Gujarat and Bengal. Now, this is what Mr. Ramachandra Guha tweeted. He said, Gujarat, though economically advanced, is culturally a backward province. Bengal, in contrast, is economically backward but culturally advanced. Philip Spratt, writing in 1939. Now let's just go back to that tweet for 30 seconds, viewers. Look at that. What are you trying to suggest? You're trying to suggest, in the words of Philip Spratt, that Gujaratis are mercantile society, obsessed with lucre. Lucre in the civilizational context, or the pursuit of lucre, money, wealth, is not a high principle. That's the general parallel that is drawn. But Bengal, in contrast, is culturally advanced, evolved. They have higher pursuits. Now let's go to what Mr. Guha says when he was called out by angry Indians across mediums. He says, statutory warning. When I post quotes by others found in the course of my research, I do so because I find them arresting in some way. I may or may not endorse in part or in whole what I am quoting. Reserve your praise or your anger for the ghost of the person being quoted. Now hold this, viewers. The choice of words is very interesting. First of all, Ramachandra Guha, who was called out and would have felt the anger of India's millions coming his way, hasn't backed off. He hasn't even distanced himself. In fact, he uses the word arresting. Now, viewers, if you look at this word arresting, it's a very interesting word. Just open the Oxford Dictionary and look at synonyms for the word arresting. What are the synonyms? Attractive, absorbing, compulsive, fascinating, interesting, rousing, scintillating. These are just some of the words that can be used as a synonym for arresting. So viewers, in the views of Mr. Guha, the words of Mr. Pratt are attractive, absorbing, compulsive, fascinating, interesting, rousing, scintillating. And what are these words? The most banal, viewers, generalizations, the most abhorrent generalizations by a white man who thinks he's an authority on Indians, from Gujarat to Bengal. This man, Pratt, viewers, let me tell you what he stood for. Let's go to the next graphic. Philip Spratt is a one-time communist who became an anti-communist liberal in the 1950s. He is an artist of the flip-flop. What else? He backed Azadi for Kashmir, stated that India must abandon its claim to the Kashmir Valley in 1952. These were the views he held. Nehru took the entire Kashmir dispute to the United Nations where it got bogged down. But this man said it can be settled, just give it away. Give away Kashmir. Why are you bothering with it? More than this, viewers, Philip Spratt went out and said Indian policy was based on a mistaken belief in the one nation theory. He almost despised us, viewers, for believing in the principles of secularism. So there you go. There you go. This is the man that Mr. Guha finds attractive, absorbing, compulsive, fascinating, interesting, rousing, scintillating, arresting. Yes. This is where we have come to, viewers. An intellectual who leads almost on a daily basis a cabal of Lutyens, liberals, and they define themselves as such. I don't think they are, because they reject other points of view. You can't be liberal if you don't have an open mind. But nonetheless, that's a different matter, viewers. This individual leads an assault daily on Narendra Modi, the Indian state, as represented in a very narrow sense by the government in power, the NDA. He absolutely loathes the NDA. He loathes Shah. He loathes Modi. He loathes the BJP. He says it openly. Now let me tell you a few more things. So he picks up this quote from Spratt that suggests that Gujaratis are not culturally evolved. Has he forgotten that Gujarat gave to India Mahatma Gandhi, the apostle of non-violence? How much more culturally evolved can you be if you espouse peace and pacifism? You abhor revenge, vendetta, hate. It gave us Dayanand Saraswati, the greatest social reformer and founder of the Arya Samaj. It gave us Sardar Patel, the architect of secular India, viewers. It gave us Morarji Desai, a peace activist and a social reformer in his own right. It gave us Homi Jahangir Bhabha, the creator of the renowned cultural hybridity theory. It gave us Homai Vyarwala, India's first woman photojournalist. It gave us Jawahar Chand Meghani, who's bestowed the title of the national poet by Gandhiji. I don't even want to certify the cultural significance of Gujarat. They don't need to be represented by a British man with a narrow mind. These individuals trace their point of view to people like Macaulay, Hastings, Clive. Should I tell you, viewers, what Clive, Hastings, and Macaulay had to say about our great people and brothers of Bengal? I will never do that. Because, viewers, these were British colonialists, imperialists. They could never look upon Indians as equals. And for a man like Mr. Guha to come out and justify this piffle, shocking. It's absolutely shocking. And we are going to have people, of course, who will support it. His right to free speech, his right, of course, by extension, to insult, his right to indulge in generalizations in the name of scholarship. That is what will be told. Let's just, viewers, open this out. We also have, of course, the Congress party that has come out. And as they say, they don't feel the need to comment on this. The BJP says that the Congress party doesn't want to comment because Mr. Guha is economically and from a career point of view advanced by the blessings of her family. We know who he is referring to. He's referring to the Gandhi family. So viewers, let's open this out. I want to go straight across to Mohandas Pai, Sanjay Hegre. Mohandas Pai, I want to ask you tonight, when you use the word arresting, and I've showed you the synonyms for the word arresting: attractive, absorbing, compulsing, fascinating, interesting, rousing, scintillating. Do you believe that the words of an imperial, racist demagogue like Philip Spratt could be defined by any of these adjectives? Tell me, sir.
Yeah. Rahul, Ramachandra Guha is boycotted and hates Narendra Modi. He writes half-truths, innuendos against Gujarat. He takes out his hatred on Modi, on Gujarat. He wrote an article comparing Gujarat and Kerala. Then you know about Gujarat and West Bengal. Let me give some. This is all data, true data. Gujarat GDP is 17 lakh crores with a population of 6.8 crores. Bengal is 13.41 crores with a population of 9.9 crores. Per capita income in Gujarat is 2,52,000 rupees. Bengal is 1,35,000 rupees. The percentage of young people in 18 to 23 in college in Gujarat is 20.4. Sadly, Bengal is 19.3. Literacy in 2011 in Gujarat is 78%. In 2011, Bengal was 77%. Yes, Bengal has a great heritage of culture. It was the greatest city, greatest state in India, the richest state in India, highest per capita income. The communists destroyed it. Now the Mamata Banerjee government has done a lot. They have improved, but they're still way behind. When you have a GDP of 1,35,000, per capita income of 1,35,000, and Gujarat has got 2,50,000, there's a big difference. It shows the failure of the state. And also, if you ask young people today in Calcutta, where do you want to go? They want to all go out in West Bengal because there's no future for them. There are no jobs. You ask the young Gujaratis, they say, if you want to be here, it's booming, we can do business. And next, even if you look at the migrants, more trains have gone to Bengal than to Gujarat. Gujarat, they sent a lot of people out because they went out. They all gone to Bengal. So Bengal is poorer. Calcutta is rich in culture, a diminishing power. So Bengal in culture had a great past, but future is, in doubt. We don't know. Gujarat has got a great future, a leading industrial state of this country. 51% of its GDP comes from industry. To compare both these states is not correct. And for Guha to, pick on Gujarat again and again just because of his hatred of Modi shows his bigoted, arrogant mind, which he's doing. So I think we should just look at all the data and go by. We should not condemn Bengal. We should not condemn Gujarat. Both are great states of this country. And our heart bleeds for Bengal because Bengal has to lead India.
Yes.
The east of India will not come up unless Bengal develops. And in the west, Maharashtra and Gujarat have done very well. In the south, Karnataka, Telangana, Tamil Nadu have done very well. But in the east, Bengal has destroyed the east because the communists, Mamata Banerjee has done well. But I don't think we should compare. And we should look at data before looking at it. Ram is bigoted, he hates Modi, he takes his hatred out in Gujarat, which I think, is not very right.
Absolutely. Who is he really attacking? Modi, the Gujaratis as a whole? What is the motivation?
Modi.
What is the motivation? GVL Narasimha Rao. What is the motivation here? You see, he finds these views of Mr. Pratt arresting. I have done a quick reading of this word arresting. And the synonyms are there. Attractive, absorbing, compulsive, fascinating, interesting, rousing, scintillating. Racist views are scintillating. They scintillate Mr. Guha. Why?
No, Rahul, I think it's very unfortunate and it's highly condemnable that somebody who calls himself a historian is actually playing a role of a divisive role. I think he should acquire himself. He should write on the Twitter, I am a divisive historian and I present my views in a way that that divides India, weakens India, and pits one state against other. For us, it's not Gujarat versus Bengal. We are proud of Gujarat, we are proud of Bengal, we are proud of every state in this country and every culture in this country. I think this kind of divisive mentality is actually a result of a blinded opposition to BJP or our leadership Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi and our other leaders of the party. I think he has every right to be a chamcha of Nehru Gandhi family. He can become a domesticated historian for the Congress family or Congress party. We have no problems with that. But don't play the role of a divisive character. And then because people of India will not tolerate.
I mean, you know, the trouble is
he understands his blunder. He's
the
only
trouble is
trying to fire from the shoulders of some kind of a sprat or a brat, and this is not going to be acceptable to people of India. He should apologize to the people of India. Otherwise, he should be condemned. I think the only punishment for him is an outright and a complete condemnation.
Well, he doesn't accept
for his
it. He's been targeting the BJP for taking him on.
That's
and
okay.
in fact, he believes
our government, but why pick Gujarat versus Bengal? But we are proud of every state, every culture. I think these chaps claim to be.
Well, he's very defiant.
Forces.
He says that I've been trying without success for 30 years to make the writer Philip Spratt better known. Thank you to the troll army for accomplishing this in a day. So the works of this man who backs the complete splitting of India right at the head by giving away Kashmir to Pakistan or whoever else is a man who Mr. Guha wants to popularize. What could be the motivations, Mr. Hegre, for finding absorbing, compulsive, fascinating, interesting, rousing, scintillating, attractive the views of a racist generalizer like Mr. What is it? Spratt, Philip Spratt. There you go.
Yes, Rahul, I wish your research team had told you more about Philip Spratt.
Philip Spratt, the word arresting is perfect, simply because Philip Spratt was arrested in the Meerut conspiracy case, and with the entire leadership of the Communist Party at that point of time went to jail. Here was an Englishman who was sent to launch the Communist Party in India. He went to jail for Indian independence or for the Communist Party, and thereafter he even married an Indian woman. His children have grown up as Indians. Of course, you can be selective with your...
No, I'll tell you. If you give me 30 seconds, I'll tell you. Will you find Mr. Veer Savarkar arresting also, because he was also arrested for sedition. He was also jailed. And then when he was released, you said he signed a compact with the British.
Yes.
What do you think Mr. Spratt did? He disavowed his communist views. No, you tell me. You apply this selectively. Savarkar is a traitor. Spratt is a great. One second. Spratt is a great supporter of the freedom struggle.
You might as well admit it.
Mr. Hegre, you have today exposed yourself on national TV. Don't pick the wrong examples. Don't defend the indefensible. Yes, he went to jail. We all know that. He went to jail in the Meerut conspiracy case. So did Mr. Savarkar. He went to jail for fighting for India in what was known, sir, as... one second. And I wanted Vikram Sampath to be here tonight because I knew you would draw this particular parallel. Mr. Sampath was not available tonight, but we've got you tonight. We've got you, Mr. Hegre. We've got you. We've nailed you.
You did not reveal the truth. You did not reveal the complete truth. And you claim to be national television.
I don't care about Spratt. You might. A Macaulay Putra like you might. You might love them. You might love the racists. You might love the Hastings. You might love the Macaulays. I don't, sir. Don't put me in your same bracket. I don't care a fig for the British. It doesn't matter to me whether the British went to jail, because, sir, millions of them lived off us, sir, for 200 years. They took every rupee that we earned. They enslaved us. Our Indian lives mattered, sir. They killed us. They kicked us in our guts, in our spleens. They left us to die and starve. You might love them, sir. I don't love the British. You can salute them. You can find them arresting. I don't, Mr. Hegre, and I never will. I never will. We are patriots. You may not be, sir. I don't care. I don't like the British of a particular era. Sorry. You might hum the poetry, you might read the literature of certain British imperialists. I hope, sir, that you ever read a book by a man called Joseph Conrad, because if you had, you would not be sitting here and justifying these these 2 feet imperialists. You shock me. You shock me, Mr. Hegre. Just because they left you their language doesn't mean that you have to lap, that you have to lick, that you have to lick and lap up everything that they spat out at us. I don't care a fig about Mr. Spratt. I don't find anything about him arresting. I wish he had gone to jail forever.
Your research team didn't tell you, or
but I will not have anybody quoting a racist to put down the people of this country. It doesn't work for me. It might work for you, sir. You might find it arresting and scintillating. Good for you.
No, Rahul, you've been caught out. Either your research team didn't tell you, or you didn't tell the people in your opinion.
What am I supposed to tell the people? That one British man who did a flip-flop went to jail in a conspiracy case? Big deal. What did he do? He came out and he espoused the British theory of divide and rule. He said, give away Kashmir. Is that what they taught him in jail? They brainwashed him in jail, sir. And you are going to find that person arresting? Great for you. Great for you, sir. Next you will say that you found Churchill arresting who called us coolies.
You may find it fascinating.
No, you might. Anyhow, don't. The day you stand up and say Savarkar was a great patriot, I will take you at face value. But you won't say it. Even Savarkar went to jail, sir. He was jailed. But you and your ilk call him a traitor. You and your ilk call him an assassin. You and your ilk call him a divisive figure. Because he was brown. Say it. Because he's Indian. Because he's a son of the soil. Because he's not a British white man. Say it. Say it, sir. Say it. Yes. Have you been to jail? Have you been whipped?
He spent 12 years.
Have you been whipped? Have you been starved? No. You sit there, sir, with your glass every day, and you think you can expound crap on national TV.
You called me. Your research team called me.
I made a mistake. Let me go across. Let me go across to Mr. Mohandas Pai. Mr. Mohandas Pai, look at the selectiveness. Sanjeev Srivastava is there also.
Rahul.
And Sanjeev Srivastava worked in a British newsroom where the British interviewed me
Rahul,
once, and they asked me to call. They asked me to call viewers, and I can say it on record. This was a BBC interview. And I'm glad that I failed it. When I was asked, what will you call the land that is occupied by Pakistan, India's half of Kashmir? I said, POK. They said, no. It can't be called that in our books. This is 1997, viewers. And I'm glad I failed that interview, because that's the British mentality. And this man espouses that. Give away Kashmir, our beloved Kashmir, to whoever. And this is the man that Guha found arresting. So let me ask you, Mr. Mohandas Pai, does it change things that Philip Spratt went, in fact, to jail in the Meerut conspiracy case? Does it change anything? Does that make him a less of a racist?
Let me say this. Philip Spratt fought for communism and a totalitarian form of a government. He did not fight for India's freedom. It was a totalitarian state, and we all know the communists sided with the British. We all know that the communists sided with the British. They did not participate in the freedom struggle. This is a conspiracy bid for various reasons. And you take Philip Spratt as an example, shows the bigotry and hatred that people like Ram Guha have for their own country. There's a problem with these people. They're so bigoted and they hate the country so much. They hate the Prime Minister Modi so much. They will do everything to blacken Gujarat, to blacken his name, to blacken India, and to show India in bad light. Every day Guha writes an article against India, against Modi, and this is terrible. And we got all these people from Lutyens Delhi who come and support everything that he says, and come and support all these white racists who have spoken ill things about us. You know, you can see what he has said earlier. And to take that man as an example to say arresting shows the mentality of bigotry and hatred.
Mr. Srivastava, let me come to you, sir. Okay, so Mr. Spratt went to jail. But does that, sir, condone his racism? Tell me.
So Rahul, are we debating Ram Guha or Mr. Spratt? Number one.
We are debating
Number two,
Mr. Ram Guha, who
all I
finds
have
the
heard in
work
this
of
debate
Mr.
so
Spratt
far is-
arresting. You know the question.
Okay, number one. And the only voices I can clearly hear is yours, Mohandas Pai's and GVL Narasimha Rao's. I couldn't get one sentence of what Sanjay Hegde said because you constantly were speaking over him. See, there is no point of having such debates if you get people and then shout and humiliate them. It is of no point. Then just have one-sided people and you can all agree on something and there is no need for debate. I'm sorry to be so blunt and straight, Rahul. But see,
don't be
I
sorry.
was told that Ram Guha has said something to the effect. No. I'm making a point. So Ram Guha said something like Gujaratis are financially very good, savvy, but culturally not refined or whatever, and Bengalis are financially not savvy, but culturally very refined. And my limited point on that argument was that while Ram Guha is entitled to talk about the strengths of people, yes, we all know that Bengalis are supposed to be more. They regard themselves, and most others also regard themselves as more culturally evolved. For what, better writers, musicians, this, that. They have a history. And Gujaratis, we know, are really good at business. They are business savvy. So Ram Guha was talking about the strengths. Why are we picking his argument from the wrong side of the stick? Because if we decide that we have to demonize Ram, and another point which you made in the very beginning, Ram Guha has written, signed under his name, more than half a dozen times that Gandhi should relinquish the leadership position on Congress. So this dynasty slave, Gandhi chamcha, all these things don't stand the scrutiny. He has written half a dozen times, signed columns in leading national newspapers, including the one of your group.
Mr. Srivastava.
So why get after a man who is
Mr. Srivastava, let's talk about the tweet.
Rubbish everything we don't agree with.
No, let's talk about the tweet.
not
Do you agree with?
scholarly.
No, one
This
second.
is
One second. You see, it's not as you know. You've tried to. No, 1 second. You've tried to whitewash it. Let me tell you.
Ram Guha was demolished.
No, let me just tell you, please. Let's read.
I'm not trying to whitewash it. Why should I?
Okay, so let me read it.
Yeah.
Let me read the quote to you. This is what he said. Gujarat, though economically advanced, is culturally a backward province. These were the views penned in 1939. Okay? Bengal, in contrast, is economically backward but culturally advanced. Why do you think Mr. Ram Guha would go through the effort of picking up a quote from 1939 to put it out? What was the motivation?
I really don't know what Guha's motivation was, but I think Guha was making at least the right point as far as the strength of both the states are concerned. Bengal, culturally more refined, Gujaratis more business savvy. That's fine.
No.
But why pick
No.
It
doesn't. No. It's not that. Don't try to pick out both positives. Hang on. Hello. 1 minute.
Yeah.
Sanjeev ji. What is written there is Gujarat is culturally a backward province.
I can pick up my arguments.
You can be selective. Yes, you can cherry pick. Yes, you can cherry pick. Okay. I allow you to cherry pick, sir. I allow you to cherry pick.
I wouldn't have said that.
You can cherry pick. So Sanjeev Srivastava refuses to look at the 5 words. Gujarat is culturally backward province. He lets that go. Fair enough, sir. If you believe it, good for you.
Said it.
Let me bring in Mr. Shahzad Poonawala and Suman C. Raman, the good doctor.
I don't believe
1 minute.
it. You are again trying to put words
No, I'm not, sir. You said so yourself. You said that I can pick up on any part of the sentence that I want to. So you have. You made your choice. Now stick by it.
So I
Don't
was
waffle.
agreeing with half of it. Okay.
आपने कह दिया जो कहना था साहब.
Others can also be included in the debate. It's been half an hour.
Yes, Mr. Poonawala. Go ahead.
As somebody whose half family comes from Gujarat, I thought you would have got me in before 30 minutes on the debate would have been over. But anyways, I plead you for 30 seconds nonetheless. You know, Ram Guha has proven himself as no better than a more polished version than Garga Chatterjee, who's also a frequent panelist on your show, who abuses Gujaratis, often calling them as the Dhokla Mafia. Now let me tell you that this tweet by Ram Guha stinks of racism of a kind, stereotyping and profiling of the worst kind. And ironically, these are the poster boys of liberalism. Let me expand the scope of the debate. These are the people who talk about Black lives mattering, they talk about Muslim lives mattering, they talk about Dalit lives mattering, but here, the only reason they condemn the entire population of Gujarat is because the hatred for Modi has transmuted into hatred for Gujarat. It often transmutates into hatred for India and love for China and Pakistan, but that's another issue, we'll go into it later. So Mr. Ram Guha wants us to believe that the rapist Dhananjay Chatterjee is more culturally advanced than Mahatma Gandhi, merely because one happens to come from Bengal and one happens to come from Gujarat, merely because Gujarat refused to open up to communism like the Bengalis adopted communism. This is absolutely racist, and I'm shocked that none of the members of the panel have so far come out and called out this liberal poster boy, his entirely stereotyping attitude towards the Gujarati community. Now let me give you an example. Had I said the Muslims are culturally backward, what would have these poster boys of secularism said? They would have said, how dare you say this? Our entire constitution and secularism has come under threat. But yet they go on about Hindu terror, they go on about saffron terror, and now they've gone on to a new enemy, that is the poor Gujaratis. Gujarat fought off so many challenges to be where it is. It got nothing when it was divided from Bombay state. I come from Maharashtra, I'm a proud Maharashtrian, but Gujarat got nothing. Bombay was in Maharashtra. Gujarat suffered from the fact that it had a border with Pakistan. Gujarat suffered from the fact that there was drought in most parts of Gujarat. They still stood up. But today, they are culturally less advanced because your poster boy, that, I don't know, Spratt or Brat of communism, has not been able to make inroads in Gujarat and was able to do so in Bengal. That is the only criteria.
Okay. Dr. Raman, go ahead.
Three quick points. You and all those who are going on and on about this Mr. Spratt have ignored a few very important points. One is, and I'm sure that this will endear him to those from the BJP and Mr. Narasimha Rao and Mr. Pai. He was very strongly opposed to Nehru's policy. So I think that should make them love him a little bit. Second, he's also a former editor of the Swarajya magazine, then as it was then with Rajaji. And you know, Swarajya, of course, is today the sort of the poster boy magazine of the BJP and the right wing. Third, he also went to jail for civil disobedience. So I think that not just a conspiracy, he was arrested subsequently in 1930s, if I remember right, and he went to jail thereafter. So there are enough reasons why, the BJP and its affiliates may want to do a quick reassessment on whether Pratt was a commie who was anti-Indian and he was the typical British who looted India, blah, blah, blah. But the larger point is, why aren't Bengalis objecting to this description of being called economically backward? Why are we having everybody coming and batting for Gujarat when he's actually said that they are economically very advanced? And Mr. Pai and Mr. Poonawalla kept pointing out how hard Gujarat has worked to achieve this economic domination, which is fantastic. Everybody should welcome that.
Okay, doctor, so I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why, because it's absolutely patronizing, as I said to you. No, you know the English language, you know Indian customs, you know that chasing wealth, money, is not really an evolved, or at least not considered for a while in particular quarters in this country, was not considered an honorable task. And I'll tell you, socialist minds thought it was the worst form.
That is really
was the worst form. Excuse me, allow me. We were a socialist state for a very long time, sir. Don't forget. We were also a country where the Arthashastra was written, where making money was valorized. But for a while in this country, if you're a rich businessman, you were not thought of being somebody who was very evolved. Let's be honest about it.
Spratt edited.
Allow me, sir, please give me 30 seconds. Give me 30. You asked me a question, I'm telling you. So when we are trying to patronize the Gujaratis by trying to suggest that they were money-minded and not quite culturally evolved, I think that's a racist point of view, at least in my book.
No,
It's up to you to consider it or not.
Exactly.
I can't impose my
It's
views.
about
We'll have to agree to
racism.
disagree. I want to bring in GVR Narasimha Rao, who's raising his hand. Yes, GVR Narasimha Rao. Many people are finding virtues in Philip Spratt, but we are all forgetting the real reason why he was picked out of the cold storage and brought out. Why don't we focus
Rahul,
on the motivations?
No, Rahul, honestly, I don't care what Philip
That's the
Spratt
point.
said 1939. It's irrelevant. And he's somebody who would always have looked down upon India. But I want to ask Ramachandra Guha, how would he feel if somebody were to make a comment about his own background? I want to ask Sumansi Raman, what did he think of Sharad Yadav's comment that all South Indian women are dusky and dark? Would you also consider that freedom of speech? I remember Sumansi Raman jumping from his chair and saying this is highly objectionable. How can you make a racist comment about South Indian women? I was outraged, and I'm outraged today. But your outrage seems to be very selective. When comments are made about South Indian women, you're outraged, like as you should be. But about Gujaratis, you have absolutely no problem. Why this selectivity?
I don't understand this logic at all.
Mr. Hegde wants to come back.
No, why is it not relevant?
Mr. Hegde wants to come back. Yes.
They're relevant. Whether somebody insults Gujarat or Tamil Nadu or
Do you know why?
Bengal, they all
Why do you
should be
think people went
outraged.
to
Why this
after
selective
Ramachandra
outrage?
Guha?
Yes, sir.
Possibly because
Guha, he worked in Calcutta. They assumed that he was a Bengali. We do have these convenient kind of slottings. Ramachandra Guha, unfortunately, is not a Bengali. He's
doesn't
not
matter.
Lutyens either. He lives
But I'm
in
asking
Bangalore.
you are a South Indian, Mr. Hegde.
Who said that?
But were you not in
Ramachandra Guha is not
when
a
this
Bengali,
comment
by
was
the
made
way.
about South Indian women? I think we were all
Ramachandra Guha is
outraged.
not
Nobody
a
has
Bengali.
claimed that.
Viewers, look, I just need to
No,
step out.
We
One
all
second,
know
viewers,
that.
1 second.
We don't
Everyone
need to
on the
say-
panel, excuse me, give me 30 seconds. I just want to point to a couple of things. Viewers, what we are forgetting is that the Gujarat-Bengal connect, we have forgotten that. I want us to focus on that. There's a graphic that we made, and I want you to have a look at this, viewers. Sri Aurobindo, one of the most prominent Indian philosophers from Bengal, viewers. And Sharif Bhai, why don't you put out that graphic and put it on? Sri Aurobindo, one of the most prominent Indian philosophers from Bengal, viewers. The Gujarat link is that his most famous student, K.M. Munshi, was from Bharuch. There it is. Foremost biographer, Ambulal Purani, was from Surat. Founder of Aurobindo Ashram, Chunni Bhai Patel, was from Anand in Gujarat. And the most famous disciple, Gujarati poet Sundaram. Viewers, that's the connect. So Gujaratis are not exactly cultural boors. They're evolved people. Yes, they're good at business also. They're good at business also. So Ramachandra Guha, you're a great historian. I'm sure you knew these facts. You then pull out a quote and you put it out there innocently and you say, I don't endorse it. I may or may not. I find it arresting. And you try to justify it. Nishana to kahin aur hai aapka babu. That's the point. The words are someone's. The target is someone. You know it well. It's best that you just come out and not be a hypocrite. Say what comes to your mind. And anyone who comes out and says that, listen, this chap, Spratt, went to jail, he's a great, nationalist, etc., etc. So did Jinnah. And to the likes of Mr. Guha, let me also remind him, so did Savarkar. But that didn't whitewash in the eyes of certain liberals the sins, alleged sins of Mr. Savarkar or Mr. Jinnah. So let's not make a virtue out of going to jail. Let's look at what these people actually stood for. And when you endorse people who stand for contempt, of a particular race, who are generalists, who stereotype others, that's not scholarship. That's something else. I leave it to you viewers to think.